To make money in the drone industry, you'll need to know how to fly a cell tower. Based on a PwC report on commercial drone technology, the value of drone services is projected to be $6.3 billion in the telecommunications industry. That's because drones are revolutionizing the industry by providing a cost-effective way to maintain critical networks. This presents us with a unique opportunity. The average cost of a tower climb can range anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 per inspection. With aerial inspections, that cost can be lowered by up to a third, significantly reducing costs for carriers and tower owners. A lower price also means drones play a critical role in keeping infrastructure in good condition. By accurately determining tower conditions through high-quality aerial imagery, telecom businesses are able to lower operating and maintenance costs while reducing risk to human life. So, how do you fly a cell tower? Like any professional service, it depends on the scope of work. Flying a cell tower isn't as easy as setting a point of interest and flying around the site. Your clients will require a very specific set of parameters, from certain camera angles to 3D modeling software, and your preparedness for these projects will be a key factor in determining whether you or your competitor will be awarded the job. The level of job complexity will also inform your equipment requirements. If the job is video-based, then 1080p or 4K video capabilities may be required. If the project requires 3D modeling, then the camera may require a minimum resolution of 20 to 24 megapixels. In some cases, a fairly large standoff range may be required. In that case, either zoom or multiple lenses may be required to properly frame and see the subject of interest. So what kinds of jobs can you expect for your drone business in the telecom industry? For starters, there are 5 basic drone services needed in the telecommunications field. They are site audits, mount mapping, scoping, bird nesting, and disaster recovery. Let's break down each service to get a better idea of what you might want to target with your drone business. One of the more basic drone services is a site audit. With site audits, clients are typically interested in the general condition of the site and their equipment, along with understanding what space and expansion opportunities may exist. Site audit flight profiles can easily be customized to fit any client's needs, and audit services can range from single photos to dozens of photos and videos. For example, a company may be looking at purchasing a portfolio of cell sites from another company. They typically need a physical audit of all the sites to understand if what is being offered on paper matches what is actually installed. Depending on the number of images your client may need, a site audit could take anywhere from 20 minutes to about an hour, and you could reasonably expect to get paid anywhere from $50 to $200 or more per site visit. This equates to a work rate of approximately $200 per hour. Next up is mount mapping. This is where things get complicated, but it's also where you can find the most profit potential. Mount mapping is a 3D capture of an antenna's mounts using a highly detailed flight profile, set with ground control points and scaling widgets. If you don't know how to set ground control points or scaling widgets, we'll cover it in another video. For now, they're used to scale a single tower flight while capturing hundreds of overlapped HD photos. Here's an example of a flight following a mount mapping profile. The images show the position of the camera when the images were taken. Note the high overlap and that there is no break in the flow of the images. All images need to have a high overlap, up to 90%, and a continuous flow without any breaks for the entire flight profile. This ensures the transition of the scaling and location data through the whole model. The auto shutter is set at 1 image every 2 seconds, and the speed of the flight is adjusted to ensure the high overlap of images. Here is an image of the resulting 3D point cloud created from the post-processing of the geotagged images, combined with the ground control points and scaling widgets data. If you need a walkthrough of a sample method of procedure, from a client needing mount mapping, detailed examples of site orbits, mount orbits, and flight methods used to produce the best mount maps for your clients, check out our service courses at yourdronebusiness.com. Next up are surveys. The different flight profile segments are referred to as surveys and can be thought of as phases of the flight where specific images are captured. There are 5 surveys that make up the complete flight. The 5 surveys are, overall, 360-degree orbit of the tower and compound, the compound, which is a closer-in 360-degree orbit of the compound, scale capture, which is the image capture of the orientation rig and scaling constraints, tower face survey, which includes vertical climbs and descents of each tower face, and mount orbits, 360-degree down and up orbits of existing antenna mounts. In addition to the surveys, additional photos, taken by hand and typically with a phone camera, provide additional site information critical to filling out the site data sheet and required reports. For now, let's move on to another telecom job for drone pilots: scoping. Scoping is similar to mount mapping in that the end result is a 3D model of the tower. This scope of work is less focused on the mounts themselves and more focused on the overall tower. The flight profile may be similar to a mount mapping project, but will not include the 360-degree orbits around the mounts. The same skills, flight techniques, data capture, and management processes are required. Since this scope of work is less than that with mount mapping projects, the price per tower surveyed tends to be less than for mount mapping. Now, for those who are less technically inclined, you're in luck. There are more ways to make money in the telecom than with complex 3D maps, one of which involves bird nesting. Many endangered species of birds nest in the coastal areas of the Gulf Coast, Southeast Atlantic Coast, and the Great Lakes region. Many of these species, to include ospreys and bald eagles, like to use the elevated platforms of cell and other transmission towers as nesting sites. During the nesting season, the nests and birds cannot be disturbed or harassed by law. If a cell operator has a tower with a nest of a protected species on it, during this time frame, no work can be done on the tower. The bird nesting scope of work entails going to a large number of towers and doing a quick vertical flight capturing video of the tower, often at a standoff range. The video is then reviewed for the existence of a nest or active occupancy by the birds. If either are present, the video is passed on to a wildlife biologist who can identify the species of bird by its nest. If it is deemed to be active and occupied by a protected species, then the tower is identified and any scheduled work is postponed. The benefit to the client is that a large number of towers can be surveyed quickly, efficiently, and inexpensively. Knowing the bird status of a tower can prevent sending a work crew at $1,500 to $2,500 a day to work on a tower only to find they cannot access it when they arrive. For the UAV service provider, it is a numbers game. A large number of towers can be surveyed daily, but at a lower price. The simplicity of the scope of work also guarantees that there will be no reflies. If you don't mind complexity, but want to stay away from mapping software, then disaster relief might be a service worth considering for your drone business. High winds, floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes can cause both local and widespread areas of disaster that impact cell sites and the operation of the cellular network. Recovery of the communications networks, along with electric distribution systems, is a high priority in post-disaster scenarios. Disaster recovery work can vary, but generally consists of going into a disaster zone in a self-sufficient mode and scouting out the physical condition of the cellular infrastructure. This scope of work typically consists of assessing the subject's cell sites and taking a site survey video of the existing conditions. Those images are then sent onto the client's Disaster Recovery Operations Center for evaluation and prioritization of repair activities. Many telecom scopes of work are based on a per-unit pay to incentivize the service provider to complete an average number of units per day. In the case of disaster recovery work, the service provider is generally paid on a daily rate. You should ensure that the rate of pay covers the cost of deploying to the disaster zone for you and your crew, lodging, food costs, standby days, and active days of work. The important thing is that you understand your costs in disaster recovery situations and are able to analyze the compensation being offered and what your true return on investment will be. Now that you have an inside look into delivering drone services in the telecommunications industry, you can start planning how to use your drone to make money in this growing industry. Your next considerations are: what best practices should I follow when mount mapping, surveying, or scoping a cell tower? What equipment should I use? How do I set up my drone, controller, and software for the right services? What do I need to know about cell tower terminology in order to succeed? What should I do to store and transfer the data I collect? And how do I go about marketing and selling drone services in telecom? If you want to take the next step in answering these questions and delivering professional drone services, visit our website at yourdronebusiness.com. Our courses cover everything from how to price certain drone work to FAA regulations and specific service walkthroughs, like telecom jobs discussed in this video. How do we know all of this? Because we've done it. We made money in the drone industry, sold our company, and now we want to pass on our industry templates to you. We have been in your shoes, and we know what it's like to step into the uncertainty of the drone service business while drones are still new to most industries. But there's a reason Business Insider projects the drone service industry to surpass $12 billion by 2021. And if you want to get in on the ground floor, now's your chance. Visit us at yourdronebusiness.com to learn more, and click subscribe to see more of our videos about agriculture, flight practices, roof inspections, and more.